Yo, what's going on, boys? Chilling here on the MacBook today, starting here with another YouTube video, and today we're going to be talking about um, pretty much going over my strategy and how I've started to see a lot better results, I would say, than I used to. It's a little bit windy out here, so excuse the wind, but this strategy likes to have a interesting taste of people's opinions, I should say, okay? And I think it's this strategy because it's very small in the realm, in the grand scheme of things. With the amount of people that's trading this strategy is very small, okay? Compared to a lot of these other strategies out there, you have thousands and thousands of people trading certain strategies, taught by these certain mentors. LSD is kind of small. So when it's kind of small and you have a small group of people trading it to begin with, we all know the statistic of 99% of people fail at this game. So when you already have a small statistic of people trading a certain said strategy, and if that small certain group of people trading the strategy is 99% unprofitable, which is what the trading space is, there's literally no way to hide that. There's literal statistics from prop firms that they take out every single year. You can look this stuff up, that 99% of people are unprofitable in the space. So if you have that small group of people trading this one strategy that all share the same, communities and all talking together, the majority of what you're going to see is going to be negative, and it's going to be saying that, hey, this strategy doesn't work because, first of all, 99% of people are unprofitable, and second of all, no one ever can blame themselves at all. No one will blame themselves. I will blame myself that the strategy that I learned a year and a half ago, when I was 16 years old, I could have been more consistent with it. I could have been more disciplined with it. I could have looked deeper into it, and I could have probably made it a profitable strategy. I could have. Is that the strategy's fault? Is that the mentor's fault? Not really, right? From my understanding, right, mentor was fine, strategy was fine, it was my fault, right? Not a lot of people like to blame themselves, I should say, right? And the funny thing is, in trading, that's literally the only thing you can blame is yourself, right? And the thing is with this LSD space is, I would say 10 months ago, 10 months ago, I was losing every single month. Okay, I was losing every single month. And I was down 8-10%, right? Every single month. Blowing funded after funded, right? And I didn't really care, right? Every single funded I had, I would learn lessons. So I'd just buy funded, blow it. Buy funded, blow it. Cool. This 100K I learned XYZ. This 100K I learned not to do this. Boom. Another 100K, another 100K. Blow it. And that was the whole process, right? And that's your tuition to trading, right? People think they're going to come into this and, they see all this fancy lifestyle online and just like, oh, cool, I'm going to buy a, 50K eval, and they get mad when they blow it. Bro, you're going to blow stupid money in this game if you want to succeed. 99% of people fail, and you're arrogant enough to think that you're going to buy a little funded account, maybe blow one or two, and then all this stuff's just going to work out and you're going to make a bunch of money. That's not realistic. 99% of people fail in this game for a reason, right? So you have to be willing to put in the work that 99% of people aren't willing to do. With that being said, 99% of the information you're getting taught isn't always the best information because 99% of people fail in this game. And that's something I had to realize. So with that being said is, first of all, is LSD strategy, is my strategy, liquidity, supply and demand dead? No. The strategy is profitable, bro. Anyone can get on and backtest the strategy. It is profitable. It all comes down to you. Now ask yourself again, who is profitable in this game? About 1% of people. So you have to be careful on taking advice from all of these people, especially the ones that don't show any proof. Now, in my case scenario, I know that the strategy is profitable. I have it back tested, okay? I've traded the strategy longer than I've traded any other strategy, and I'm starting to see consistent improvement within my trading. With that being said, when you're getting taught by certain people that yes, they can help you, and I admit my mentors did help me, right? The problem is when people don't show results, when, at least in my case scenario, I never had any mentors that really showed, that they were taking trades that they said they were taking. Never really saw any, 1099 forms or any tax documents, can't speak, any tax documents at the end of the year, anything like that, just to purely prove that, hey, I'm profitable. This is legit. Anyone can do this. Like, I can teach you how. I've never saw any of that. So in my mind, to take advice again from people that the majority is unprofitable, the majority fell from this game, and they're not showing any proof that they are beating this game, why should you take advice from them? That's just the most basic thing any of you guys should be asking, and I'll admit it took me a very long time to ask myself that question. I was like, wait a second, why am I taking advice from these people when I've actually been in the market longer than a lot of these people, and these people don't really show any results, right? It's just a simple question you have to ask yourself. So, taking that into consideration, does that mean, the strategy's horrible? No. There is people trading a silver bullet model, bro. Actually, no, I'm going to change that. There's people that trade top and bottom wicks, okay, that like top tick trades. 99% of them are not profitable, and they sell courses, right? And a lot of them scam. You see these people getting exposed every single day on TikTok and Instagram. But is there people that's profitable with that strategy? Is the strategy profitable? Yeah. Look at Powell Trades, for example. You can't. I mean, he literally shows his payouts. He shows his tax documents. Like, you can't make that up, right? So that's a prime example of a strategy working, but 99% of mentors teaching it, 99% of students that trade it are unprofitable. Now it comes down to, again, people can't blame themselves, so they blame the strategy, they blame the mentor, and they start to hop to another strategy. And it takes you a while to learn that, hey, it's not the strategy, it's just me, right? So I'm taking a top tick trade or a top tick entry model for an example, because there's a lot of people who don't trade it properly, who mentor it and sell courses on it, and they get exposed all the time. But there's also a dude that's profitable with it, because the strategy itself is profitable, and he's mastered it, and he's added a couple confluences that suits his trading style, and it works for him because he's stuck through it, right? And fixed little things within his trading to maybe better his win rate, better his edge, skip a certain amount of losses, and it worked for him, right? So where I'm going with this is the same thing with the LSD space. There is barely anyone in the LSD space to begin with. So if it's such a small crowd and 99% of people by definition are unprofitable, then 99% of people by definition are going to be hating on said strategy because it's not working for them. It doesn't matter what type of strategy, what type of industry you're in. If that's the statistic, that by definition that can't be broken, right? By definition, if you have 100 people trading said strategy, 99% of people are going to be saying, hey, this strategy doesn't work, or blaming it on anything they can, right? So I think personally that's the biggest thing for at least the niche that I'm in, which is liquidity, supply, and demand. Another thing though, and I can talk about this for a long time, the thing is, I tie back into the point of top ticks and bottom ticks, that type of strategy, right? A lot of mentors are unprofitable, and a lot of mentors are, teaching it, and they're in it for the course sales, but there's also people that can trade it profitably. I believe it's the same thing for any single strategy. Any strategy out there, it's the exact same thing, okay? And the issue is we unfortunately have that in the LSD space. I'm not making this video to call anyone out or anything like that. I'm not going to say any names. What I'm saying is understand who you're learning from and understand their scenario and understand, hey, am I seeing proof of, what they're saying they're trading? Am I seeing proof of that? Am I seeing proof that, what they're saying online is actually, being, applied and happening live in the markets every day? No, right? Take that strategy, though, and test it yourself, and you'll find that, hey, the strategy does work, right? But how come when I'm trying to get taught it, it doesn't seem to work? I can't get it to work live markets, but when I look at the data and I look at, these mentors or anything like that showing you data, it's working. There's a couple reasons for that, right? First, and this goes for any single strategy. This isn't just liquidity, supply and demand. Any single mentor that's, not really showing you proof or anything like that, it's going to be amplified results on, whether it's YouTube, posting on Instagram, posting on TikTok, any of these platforms. It's going to be amplified results to get you to join and learn from them, for them to get course sales, right? And it takes a little bit for people to wake up to that, but eventually you guys will come around, okay? And that's the first thing. And the second thing to realize is, if the strategy works, okay, and your mentor or who you're learning from, or 99% of the people in the space can't get it to work, why don't you, as an individual trader, find out yourself what works? Someone tells you a rule and says, hey, only trade during, this time and, this certain time. Let's just say only trade during, 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. Okay? You can listen to them, but you can also realize, okay, is my mentor legit? Is my mentor showing results? Or is this also coming from a person that, in a space of 99% of people fail? Should I really be taking this information? Question everything is what I'm getting to. Question everything and test everything yourself. Test that yourself. 6 to 8 a.m. might be the best time to trade, right? Or 6 to 8 a.m. might not be the best time to trade. Maybe 6 to 10 a.m. might be the best time to trade. Find these things out. And why do I say this? I say this because I traded liquidity, supply and demand months ago, learning from these people, right? I was learning from these people. Every single month, the people I was learning from and the people I was trading with, we really didn't have any results. I traded this strategy and I was red every single month. And I started to come to this realization, and you only will come to this realization the more time you spend on the charts. And hopefully me telling you this, making this video, you kind of speed that process up, but you'll only find this stuff out by losing month after month and blowing money month after month. That's your tuition to the markets, okay? Don't get beat up over, blowing money in the market. That's your tuition to the markets. That's the bills you got to pay to learn the skill set. 100%. Just like a business expense, right? You want to, start some type of business, you get out a business loan, you get out that loan, you start working on your business. That's the same thing with trading, bro. This is your business loan. This is your tuition to the market, okay? So my point being is the more you trade this, you start to realize, okay, I need to find out what works for me. Because this strategy is back tested by me and it's profitable, but everyone around me is saying this strategy's too dry, this strategy doesn't produce enough trades, this strategy's unprofitable, this mentor's bad, that mentor's bad. While some of it might be true, you also have to sit down and understand if it works or if it doesn't work. And for me, I sat down and I looked at liquidity, supply and demand, and I looked at the backtesting results. It works. There's no doubt about it that it just doesn't work. I've made my own tweaks. I've, found targeting certain TP levels makes more P&L. I found that certain pairs perform better than other pairs. I found that, let's just say splitting up prop firm accounts and trading only a certain amount of pairs on this account or a certain amount of pairs on this other account might be better, You have to find those things out yourself, and you have to understand, cool, this works. Let me apply what I think is going to better my trading. And that's where I went down the whole rabbit hole of, okay, if I'm trading like everyone around me, this is the main sauce piece of this video. If I'm trading like the 99% of people around me, and by definition, 99% of people are unprofitable, then why am I taking everyone's advice around me? And why am I trading like every single person around me when by definition, all these people are unprofitable? Even better, the mentors in the space don't really show any proof. So by definition, sit and ask yourself, why would you be taking advice from these people? So I sat there and I was like, okay, wait a minute. Why am I doing this? And when I started to add confluences that really wasn't normal for the entry model and stuff like that, and started to use something different, people will question you. People will be like, okay, why are you doing that? That's so weird. Like, that's not what we do. That's not what we normally do. That's not what's taught. Okay, well, again, the 99% of people are unprofitable. So by definition, if you're surrounded by people that's not seeing any results and you step out of that circle and you start finding stuff that works better on your own and back testing, that works better in live market, and you're skipping more losses, by definition, you're doing something better than the 99% of people that are unprofitable in the first place. So why would you listen to the majority of people that are unprofitable? And what I'm meaning by this is, at least for liquidity, supply, and demand, you have to understand that the space is super small and the majority of people are unprofitable. Does that mean the entry model's not profitable? No, the entry model's fine. The reason people are unprofitable is because, first of all, people can't wait for trades. The space is taught by some, not the best mentors, that they don't really tell you, hey, take this liquidity, supply, and demand trades, but don't take these type of setups, right? And they can't give you a reason why the markets lose or win because they're slightly inexperienced, right? They're always taught to teach this model, sell a course, their course pays for their bills, and as long as, they can show a couple winning setups here and there, they're fine, right? So they don't really got any point to try to better their trading, right? So sit and ask yourself, okay, again, if this model is profitable, but live markets is not profitable because, again, all those reasons I'm telling you, the 99% are taking too many trades, they can't sit still, and they're taking just garbage setups. Step out of that bubble. By definition, if 99% of people are unprofitable, be the 1% that does something different. Try adding this confluence to your trade. Try adding this pair to your pairs list. Try targeting this certain TP. Try skipping, these certain type of setups, when this pops up. Try these things and find what works. Find what works, because by definition, the 99% of people that's doing all the same thing clearly isn't working and no one has results. So by definition, again, if the 99% are unprofitable, step out and try to be that 1%. Mainly, try to find out what works best for you. Because everyone in that 99% mostly has backtesting results to see that it's profitable. But whatever they're doing live executing, and if you're live executing within that group of people, you're not going to see results. And you as a group are going to bash the strategy, are going to bash certain people, and are going to start hopping strategies because you're in that group of 99%. If you're doing, again, you're using all the confluences, doing, exact same trade entries head to toe with this group, by definition, 99% of you will fail. Now, there's a difference. So, there is a difference. Let's say there is a person. There's a person that's trading. Let's say breakout and retests. Okay, there's a person that's trading breakout and retests. Now, this person has thousands of people learning from him, right? By definition, though, still, those thousands of people, 1% of those thousands of people are going to be a little bit more, right? It's going to be a couple hundred people. So by definition, you can still have an elite group. You can still have a tight group of people that actually know how to trade and are trading it properly and are rinsing the markets consistently. You can have that by definition, right? The problem is liquidity, supply, and demand, at least the model I teach, there's quite literally 3 people selling courses on it. The rest are just most of them in the first place are just a bunch of bullshit. But there's 3 people even selling courses, even teaching it in the space. If they're teaching a whole entire strategy head to toe, and there's only 3 people teaching it, that vast majority of people learning that model is small. And when it's small, and I'm talking, I don't know exactly how many people are learning this strategy, but I'm not really in much of these discords, but it's not a lot. It is not a lot. I honestly don't even think it's over 1,000 people that's trading it seriously. I wouldn't even put it at 1,000 people, okay? Maybe 500 people that's actually trading it seriously, that has set rules and they wake up every single day and do it. Maybe 500 people. Honestly. The rest are just, they don't really care, right? So by definition, do you guys understand how small that 1% of people are? It's barely anyone. By definition, 5 people out of 500 people are, by definition, again, consistently seeing results. And it's going to be even lower than that if people in the space aren't teaching it as best as they can. If people in the space can't tell you why certain setups lose. People in the space can't, give you a better understanding of the market, and they just throw you this LSD as, full strategy. By definition, that group of people are cooked. Even if the backtesting results show profitability, if that small group of people can't execute live markets, and again, they're, can't sit still, can't wait for A+ setups, can't, they don't know which trades to take, they don't know what trades to skip, and they don't know, the best time frames, maybe they don't know, this confluence, that confluence, all this stuff. The vast majority are all losing, and everyone's teaching the same people in that little circle, so the vast majority just keeps losing. It's literally the blind leading the blind. That is my, that is truly what I think is within this liquidity supply and demand space. I don't mean to bash anyone. There's people that are, finding their own little variants of it and adding little things that work for them. Bro, that's not who I'm talking about. That's the people that, they should be doing what they're doing. What I'm saying is, I was in that vast group majority. We were all, learning from the same person, right? Most of us. And we're all trading the exact same way. None of us saw results. None of us still get live results, yet the backtesting results show profitability. If everyone still, to this date, is doing the exact same thing, nothing's going to change. People are obsessed with just oh yeah, we're eventually going to get better, Bro, if you're doing the exact same thing you did last year, which I was, right, at a certain point, a couple months ago, I was doing the exact same thing in the LSD strategy that I was a year ago, and it still wasn't working. What do you think's going to change? Nothing's going to change, because you're in that group taking advice from other people, and the space of the LSD space is, the people in the LSD space is so small, so by definition, if 99% of people fail, majority of people in that small little space are failing. Whereas if you have a strategy that's widely taught, right, and it's, traded by, let's say 10,000 people, right, that's, traded by 10,000 people, then within that, you're going to have 100 people that can trade it profitably, right? And then you can have that group, and you can learn what all these guys do, right? And, then you can have that, really killer type of, people build some crazy groups online where, everyone's genuinely eating, because, again, some strategies are, so many people trade them that, by definition, that 1% is just a gradual, better, bigger number, right? And winners, teach more people, and then they become winners, and then it slowly grows because the majority of people are trading that strategy. When you have a small strategy with a small sample group, and everyone's getting taught the same thing, and no one is getting results, it's because of that. It's not the strategy. Everyone has the backtesting strategy to see that it works. Obviously, something in this group is wrong if 99% of people are unprofitable. So what I did is I started questioning things, right? And I started to look around to different strategies, and I started to realize, okay, this is actually how the market moves, not because of this reason, not because of LSD. This is why the market moves, right? So I start adding these confluences, I start adding these things, and I start to, do my own thing, because you realize 99% of people are unprofitable. So by definition, you have to do what the 99% of people aren't doing. If 99% of people are taking multiple trades a week, by definition, you need to do what they're not, we're opposite of them, by definition. So be more picky with your setups. It's not easy, it's a lot easier said than done, right? I've now learned, thank the Lord, I've now learned a bunch of different things that I now use within my trading to help me do that, right? But by definition, again, if people are, taking a bunch of setups that, might look like, this one setup, by definition, if, most people are saying, oh, I'm confident in this trade because, XYZ, right? And that trade loses, by definition, step back and be like, okay, by definition, 99% of people thought that trade was going to do that. Why didn't it do that? 99% of people fail. I need to look at what the majority of people are doing. By definition, you need to step out of that 99%. Right? By definition, if most people are expecting, certain results every single month and expecting trade expectancy and all this stuff, by definition, you need to expect the opposite. And that's what I've been doing. And gosh, last March in 2025, I don't even know how much I lost. Probably 10-15%. 10-15%, at least last March, right? And whereas this March I'm, up 11% currently. Still have 3 more days, right? That could definitely change. But as of right now, up 11% for the month. Off 1 year. If I didn't change anything, I would still be in that vast majority of 99%, again, by definition. And I think that's why the LSD space is, everyone's talking about the same thing. Everyone's taking the exact same setups, and they're losing over and over again. So everyone's like, oh, the strategy's dead. LSD's dead. LSD just doesn't work. Bro, you guys are all taking the same exact things. You know what I mean? If everyone's failing, by definition, you guys are doing something wrong. So you need to step out of that. Find why trades are losing. Find why trades are winning. Find if you should be more picky with your setups, or if you shouldn't be more picky with your setups. Find what pairs perform the best. By definition, if the whole entire LSD space doesn't really see results, but the backtesting results are good, do what they're not doing live market, which is overtrading. And a bunch of other stuff on the technical side, I should say, of the strategy. And the problem is in my opinion, the LSD space, we only have, a couple people teaching it, whereas there are so many variants that this strategy can be taught, and there's so many variants that I believe it's more profitable, more consistent win rate, all this stuff, right? I don't think people realize liquidity, supply, and demand, guys. If you look it up on YouTube, if you look it up on Instagram, nothing comes up. Like, there's 3 people that teach it. That's it. Do you guys realize how small that is? Again, by definition, I don't even think 300 to 500 people are trading it full time, as best as they possibly can. And if 1% of people succeed within that, then guess what that is? That's literally a handful of people that's going to see consistent results month after month. So by definition, you need to be doing the opposite of what the majority of people are doing. And that's my thing. My thing is, I've traded this strategy to see how the 99% of people think, how the 99% of people are taught, and how the 99% of people trade. And I've been able to find my own things to step out of that 99%, aka do the opposite of what the 99% are doing. And you, weirdly enough, by definition, start to see results. You start to see results. Guys, I never even had a profitable month trading this strategy. Anyone that's getting into trading, whatever strategy they hop on, they're not going to unless they do the opposite of the 99%. It's like that with every single strategy. I've joined multiple mentorships. I've joined multiple Discords. And again, every single mentor, is different. Some mentors can teach it really, really well. Some people can, they got their strategy heavily down. And again, their mentorship, their Discord might have 100 people, and 80 people in there are profitable because those mentors, can teach and they've been through it. They're legit mentors. They're showing payouts. The problem is, I hate to say it, we just don't have that in the LSD space. And it's unfortunate to say that because I wasted my time trading a strategy while, all of us were trading the same thing. A lot of us in the liquidity supply and demand space was trading the same thing. None of us were getting results. So by definition, I got to be doing something different than the 99% of people who are trading liquidity supply and demand. And again, not to get into specifics, and I will eventually make YouTube videos on it, but I found technicals, I found stuff that allowed me to be different. Add what works for me and stop overtrading. Okay? Stop overtrading, stop taking so many trades, because that's what the majority in the space does. And a lot of people, realize that literally trades pop up and they happen quick, and you're only going to get a set amount of them a month, and that's it. The rest are just garbage entry models that everyone takes and loses. So, the answer for this video is I don't believe LSD is dead. I feel like, at least for me, it's just beginning. I see great potential ahead. I see great potential ahead to, potentially teach the concepts that I've added to it, teach it in my type of way, and, hopefully help others out as well that are in the 99% that by definition will fail. So that's just my opinion on it, because we all have backtesting data. We quite literally all have backtesting data. It's profitable, but when it comes live market, everyone can't, people can't catch the winners. People take a bunch of losers, right? There's clearly something wrong, right? You're impatient, yet you're not on the charts enough to catch, when these setups do pop up, you're not quick enough. There's, something wrong, right? And that's what I had to fix. I had to become, get out of that 99%. And I'm not saying I have it perfectly down yet, or, I'm consistently profitable for like 3 years now. No. But month after month, I've been profitable when I couldn't have even imagined having a green month 10 months ago. Felt like it was impossible because you're surrounded by the same 99% of people are trading a same strategy the same exact way that hasn't worked for months over months. It's all market conditions. Market conditions will pick back up. If, again, everyone's saying that, no one's seeing results, by definition, 99% will fail unless you get out of that 99%. So for me, I, again, kind of stepped out of that. I started finding things that worked, and I don't believe LSD is dead. I will read you guys statistics. I'm not gonna tell you guys every single pair that I have doing these statistics, right? But it's a handful of pairs, and I will just kind of quickly, I don't know if this will focus in, but I have these all written down. Okay. 2024. Let me find 2025. 2024, right? Combined total on, now this is backtesting results. This is 4:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. My strategy, trading 6 pairs. 6 pairs in the 5-minute time frame from 4:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. Okay? 2024 statistics, just on the Forex pairs, total P&L 147% with a win rate of 60%. Futures, total P&L 93% with a 45% win rate. By the way, I can definitely up that win rate adding some of these concepts, right? These are just pure LSD entry model, slapping the position on if it looks remotely, pretty good, right? I believe in my heart that I can better that. Regardless, combined total 240%. P&L theoretically targeting 1 to 4s on your 5-minute with all your pairs combined. You guys see an issue with that? I don't see an issue. That sounds like a lot of percentages for that year. Even if we catch half of that, if we catch half of that, that's 120%. 120%. We don't even have to get into the specifics of, how many prop firms you're trading with. If you have a live account, how much percentage you're risking on each account, how many accounts you're taking a trade on, all of this stuff, bro. Futures, you literally can risk 0.5% on whatever you want and copy trade it on like 5 accounts with one firm. That's not even using a trade copier. There's levels to this, but no one's at these levels yet. And that's the problem, is that I think a lot of people's just stuck in, in this beginner type state, because not a lot of people even trade this strategy to begin with. And again, I think the 99% are unprofitable. So, when things aren't going right, that relays to a bunch of other people, and everyone's like, yeah, you're right. LSD's been dry, it's been garbage. This strategy just really isn't the best. I believe, it also depends on who you surround yourself with as well. And with not a lot of people even being in this space to begin with, it does not help that at all. That's 2024 statistics, okay? Again, total win rate for that is about 50%. 200 trades in total. About 50% win rate targeting 1 to 4s. Guys, you can have a 20% win rate targeting 1 to 4s, and that's considered technically, I think, break even or technically profitable, whatever. And we have 50%. And I think I could personally make that a little bit better, but I could be wrong, right? 2025 statistics, guys. Futures. 50% win rate. Total P&L. 207% on 3 pairs on the 5-minute time frame. These are normal trades. These aren't trades that are, some crazy, weird look. These are normal liquidity, supply, and demand entry model trades with, I paired my confluences with these as well and cut out a lot of winners. A lot of losses, but sometimes some winners as well, right? But the losers obviously outweigh the winners. Forex, 2025 statistics. 65% win rate. I'm trying to cover some of this stuff up, but let me just, here, take a screenshot of it, crop it real quick, just to show you guys this. If this focuses, bro. Come on. There. Pause the video, do whatever you want to do. 42 wins, 22 losses, 65% win rate, 146% targeting 1 to 4s with a 65% win rate. Guys, your backtesting obviously isn't going to be spot on. You're going to miss some trades, you're going to miss some losers, and you're going to miss some winners. In live market, you might take a stupid trade or two here and there. These aren't going to be perfect, but these are enough results to consider any type of strategy absurdly profitable. With that paired together, your futures and your Forex, total P&L for the year again, 50% win rate, 207% total P&L. That's 2 years. I have 5 years, for example, on gold tested. This strategy and it's not even like this is a swing strategy where, 2 years isn't a lot of data. This is a 5-minute. This is a strategy that's traded on the 5-minute time frame. Entry models pop up on every pair, usually a couple times a month. It depends on which ones are good and which ones are bad. That's your job to figure that out. And in my opinion, there's not really that much people even trading this strategy to begin with. For people to find a person that's really giving you good reasons and really giving you good advice on why to skip this one or why to take this one. So when if the majority by definition are unprofitable, then the majority are going to be, again, unprofitable in taking, over trading, taking bad setups, all that stuff. And as a group, when everyone's doing that, they're just going to blame it on the strategy because they're in that 99% and they're reflecting off the energy other people are giving them. other people's taking the same trades and they're constantly losing and it's month after month, it's easier to say, oh yeah, it's market conditions, it's this, it's that, right? Whereas, yes, that stuff plays into role, but you guys get what I'm saying. For the vast majority of times, it's not quite exactly like that. When you're getting just, like, for me, I've been trading this strategy for, like, I've had no results for, like, a year. No results. Negative months every single month. Every single month I was learning an absurd amount of lessons, and that's the difference, I think. Is a person that's forever going to be stuck is just never going to learn. Every loss is a blessing by God, right? Every loss, that's God saying, hey, you took a loss. I gave you this loss. Note down what, you learned. For me, it was every loss, and it was every funded account I was blowing. Every funded account I was blowing, blessing by God. Every funded account I was blowing, boom, I learned this. On to the next. Purchase another one, boom, blow it. I learned this. And eventually, you start learning all these lessons that the table starts to flip, and you start to get on that profitable side where you have all these lessons learned from all the tuition you're paying to these markets. That, again, you start to step out from that 99% bubble. You start doing things a little bit different. You start using all the lessons you learn, and you start seeing consistent months. I don't think it's the strategy. I think it's the traders. And that's 2024. That's 2025 data. That's not even including the 30-minute time frame. I have my opinions on the 30-minute time frame. Okay, I think it throws a lot of losses at you. I think it's very fundamentally driven. It's not driven by LSD. That's a fact. It's driven very fundamentally, and very higher time frame type of movement. It's still profitable, right? But it doesn't. For me, it doesn't react the same as the 5-minute. 5-minute, I'm very technical with my stuff. I like to see, a certain type of stuff play out technicals, with liquidity and stuff like that. 30-minute doesn't really revolve so much like that. You're holding trades for hours, sometimes days. That's very fundamentally driven based off currencies, right? Or commodities, whatever you're trading. But you guys get what I'm saying. That's not even including 30-minute time frame. And guys, I have backtesting data on NQ from 2016. It performs the exact same as it did last year. Every year, this year a pair might have a 40% win rate. This next year, this pair might have a 60% win rate. The P&L might be a little bit different. Obviously, that's what you're going to have when you're trading. But when you have years after years of profitable data, and that's just 2 years, right? I have more data. Again, I have gold on 5 years, and I'm consistently backtesting every single day. Bro, the stuff works. It's just you as a trader improving and not listening to the 99% of people that's surrounding you, and improve on yourself every single day to how to execute. You have the backtesting results. Match your backtesting results as much as you can. If live market, if you're following what everyone, 99% of people that are unprofitable are doing, which is over trading, doing all this dumb stuff, you're never going to get close to those backtesting results at all. And again, a lot of people are like, oh, well, I'm trading, every single LSD setup that pops up that's valid. Who told you they're valid? Did the person that told you they were valid, did they show you a bunch of payouts? Did they show you proof of this working every single month? Did they show you proof that they're taking these setups? Did they really show you any of that? Can they explain why these setups lose? Can they explain why this setup won, right? Can they explain, any higher time frame narrative, where price is chasing? All of this stuff, can they explain that to you? If not, then why don't you just take your own experience you have in the market and build your own bias and learn from it? Instead of, listening to these people that everyone's listening to the same type of people and everyone's unprofitable. So by definition, why are you doing the same thing? By definition. If 99% of people are unprofitable in this game, by definition, why would you be doing the same that everyone's talking about the same exact stuff, everyone's learning about, from these one or two dudes, everyone's doing the exact same stuff. By definition, why would you be doing the exact same thing? I'm not talking about just LSD, guys. I'm talking about any single strategy. Again, you can go on TikTok. You can look at any of these influencers. In the comments, it's flooded with people that are like, either, yeah, your strategy's good, yeah, I got payouts with your strategy, or, hey, your strategy's horrible, I moved to this strategy, or guys, come try out this strategy. And it's like that back and forth all the time. I can see how people come into this game and get so, cooked on who to trust because of that. So again, I don't think this strategy is cooked. I want to come on here and just give a massive yap. Literally a massive yap session. What is that? 45 minutes right now I'm going on. Just talking about this stuff. And really sitting down, like, it really resonated with me since it's been like 3 months of like, wow, I've made changes to the strategy. I made changes to myself. I've built so many lessons learned within this market. It's like I'm seeing consistent results. It's not just like, hey, 1 week, I had a profitable week. No, bro. I'm seeing consistent results month after month right now at this point. And I'm confident in my stuff. And guess what, guys? I'm not doing what the 99% of people are doing, right? I am not taking a bunch of trades. I am being so disciplined, so patient that it seems weird. Why does it seem weird? Well, because everyone I'm surrounded by are complaining that there's no trades or taking a bunch of trades. But remember that 99% are unprofitable by definition. So, just wanted to make this pretty much done here. But I just wanted to talk about my scenario. 99% of unprofitable. Be careful who you listen to. Do your own things that kind of work for you. Find out what works for you. Be careful who you listen to, pretty much. Give you statistics, bro. In case you guys don't have backtesting data. The strategy, it's not. I truly don't believe it's the strategy. I believe it's the trader. People are profitable trading 1-to-1s, taking 1 trade a day, trading 1-to-1s. People are profitable taking 1 trade a month. Bro, it's the trader. Every strategy, realistically, if it has a statistical edge, month after month, it's profitable. It's up to you as a trader how to perfect that, how to milk as much profit as you possibly can, how to increase that win rate, find what works, find what doesn't work. It's up to you as a trader to make that work. That's literally it. And that's what I've been finding, and that's what I've been adding into my trading. And it's not even like it's not even, I don't even know how to explain it. It's not even like it's just getting lucky once or twice or something like that. Bro, it's consistent edge in the market month after month. And I'm going to keep working on it. I'm going to keep getting better at it. I'm going to keep doing what the 99% of people aren't doing. Right? That's literally it. Keep doing what the 99% of people aren't doing. And by definition, you will be profitable. If 99% of people, or most people, are listening to, and guys, I'm not trying to say any names. I'm not talking about any specific person. I'm talking about any strategy. But if, let's say you have a mentor and most people are listening to this person and everyone's unprofitable and everyone's doing kind of the same thing, and for a lot of times for, mentors in the space, bro, a lot of these guys can fake results. A lot of these guys aren't getting the results that they say they're getting. I was in these mentorships. I know this game, right? The thing is if everyone's doing that same thing, and everyone's trading the exact same way, taking the same types of setups, overtrading, doing all of this, and they're unprofitable, which was what I was in for the last entire year. I was like, why am I unprofitable? I'm trading like all these other guys in the Discord. I'm doing exactly what, this guy, and this guy's doing. I'm doing what all these guys are doing. Why am I unprofitable? Sit there and understand, wait a second. We're all unprofitable. If I'm trading like everyone else, and 99% of people fail, by definition, I'm doing something wrong. I need to get out of this space. I need to do something different. Again, ask yourself, is it the people trading it, or is it the strategy? I can look at the backtesting results and see it's profitable, but I can look around the people that I'm trading and see that we're not getting really consistent results at all. So I need to step out of this bubble of people I'm trading with, do something, a little bit different, try to match my backtest results as much as I possibly can, and see how it works. And I perfect it month after month after month. And it slowly went from 10 months ago being down so much percent every single month, blowing all these accounts, to slowly inching, slowly having, a profitable month, like 1%, slowly getting a break-even month, right? And you slowly inch your way into profitability And it's not easy. It takes month after month, right? And that's exactly like what I've done. And you get, a couple months past that break-even point, and you start again, keep learning, and boom, profitability starts to come. It feels weird for me, bro. It feels weird for me. It feels genuinely weird. I'm used to blowing so much evaluations every month or every 2 months that it feels weird, right? It feels like, wow, I'm doing something wrong. You're not doing something wrong, because again, the 99% of people fail. So of course it's going to be, feeling weird when you're doing something right, because you're doing what the 1% do, which is opposite of what the 99% of people do. And it's been consistent like this the last 3-4 months. So that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Wanted to talk about this. I want to talk about my opinions on the liquidity, supply and demand. Maybe another video we'll go over some data or something like that. But realistically, I'm just focused on my trading right now. I'm focused on my trading. I'm focused on giving weekly recaps and keep improving my trading, right? That's honestly all I'm focused on. But my opinion, I don't believe it's any type of strategy or anything like that. It's like this with every single strategy. It all comes down to the trader, in my opinion. That's pretty much it for this one, boys. And thank you for watching. If you have any questions, anything you think that I missed, comment it, please. Let me know. And yeah, boys, that's pretty much it for this one. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.